I never tend to speak about furs from the UK. A lot of this series is speaking about the horrific individuals we see across the pond. But today I really want to tell you about someone in specific. This is the terror of Tanuki. Callum, also known as Tanuki Terror in the fandom, is a 29-year-old furry whose biggest achievement so far has been dating Beauty of the Base. The thing I am going to be speaking about relates mostly to the thing that he's done in previous partners. These partners that have come forward, apparently 2 or 3 of possible 8 partners in their lifetime in the fandom. And we've seen anything from faking a suicide attempt to a partner in order to get back with them, to extorting someone by using their connections as a club animals admin to receive emotional favours to not have their ticket banned. I was warned by victims that Callum tends to threaten anyone who speaks about him with legal threats. First of all, this information is all allegations and please take it as such. I will give you the information, and further from that, whatever you do with it, it's not my kind of delegation. I'll give people the information as I mentioned, but what they do with that information is their own actions and is not sanctioned or promoted by me. That's me covered legally. Now let's get into the video. To give context of what Callum's like before we get into the victim stories, I want to speak about this screenshot that an individual posted regarding an individual by the name of Lysoa for being sexually abusing and molesting of their animal. There are other DMs, but Tanuki, known as Tykes Brax AD at this time, DM'd a person who came out against the previously mentioned person. And basically, if you want to know what came out against meant, was that they said they were not in favour of zoophilia. And Tanuki responded to this individual with this. It's very mentally stable, trust me. Why don't you keep your trap shut for once and stop being the fandom's amateur wannabe news reporter? What you're doing invading a family like that is absolutely abhorrent and pathetic. You have absolutely no right whatsoever to do such things. It's not remotely your concern. If they're abusing and raping their animals, I think it is their concern. I find it hard to believe anyone could have such a boring and pitiful existence, and that their only true pastime is to stir things up and cause a scene. What you're doing is fanning a fire, and it's not welcome in this fandom. People who rape animals are not welcome in this fandom. People like you are the reason this fandom is damaged and so lacking in respect. I actually feel so sorry for you. I can't imagine a life as boring as yours. Anyway, keep up your bullying and radical behaviour, and I'll be contacting your employers to enlighten them on your behaviour online. What goes around comes around. Now go dwell in the scum where you rest of the drama trash belongs, you vile person. Jesus, he sounds like a really lovely person. I want to marry him immediately. I really want to marry this guy. But this is the level of person we're speaking about. They'll jump to an abuser's defense. It's disgusting and frankly sets up the precedent for this future stuff we'll get into. Not only that, but completely unrelated, I'm finally speaking about an English person and all I can think of is fucking Dani G.
I've just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole! Do you know what I mean? Birmingham is a fucking shithole!
But I will come back to this screenshot and speak more in depth about this. But we begin by getting into one of the most significant victim stories I'll speak about. So I'll name the victim as Dani. Dani is a popular content creator in the fandom and a fursuiter. They were in a relationship for a very brief time in 2022, and during this relationship they had a very rough sexual encounter in which Dani was physically hurt, and they continued with that sexual encounter despite someone else being hurt and no clear line of communication between Tanuki available. They provided the image of the damage that was left behind, and we can see below. As they said in the screenshot, the bite and swelling it caused versus the shoulder after it healed. Sorry, these are from my OnlyFans, the only place I had photos of it. You could see the damage, as I mentioned, left behind on the shoulder due to the bite that they received, and they gave justification as to why they didn't immediately stop the sexual encounter with this person. They said, "I nearly cried in the bathroom after he'd done it. Worse was after he'd done it, he claimed I should have said stop, but it hurt so bad I was in shock and couldn't say anything." I, as a person who was sexually assaulted, it very much is that shock. It's not a super easy way to say stop when something like this happens. The fact that he could not recognise that his partner was in pain is vile. Honestly, the fact only exemplifies the other victim statements I'm going to give. After they'd broken up, Dani felt comfy enough to begin speaking out and telling people about this incident and how horrific it was to her. Once Callum got wind that she was speaking out about his mistreatment towards her, he responded like any fucking psychopath would, by attempting to extort Dani by using his admin role at a club called Club Animals. If you're a purist, a priest, or a child molester, or you aren't cool enough like me, Club Animals is a BDSM event for pup play enjoyers, i.e. the people who wear the masks and fist. It's the thing where they dress up as puppies, and many of them use as a way to regress for the day from the stresses of life and pass as a simpler thing. But Callum, aka Tanuki, is an admin for this chat and kind of bored, and he banned Dani for the belief that he saw her as a threat. Even though with the damage he inflicted on her, he even sent a falsified email from an unaffiliated account to the club to Dani saying, "Oh yeah, your ticket has been cancelled." Here we see the email below. From 2A51C38B to fucking Club Animals sent you a new message. "Hi, unfortunately we've had to take the decision to not permit you to be a member at this time. Your ticket has been refunded and your account has been closed. We apologise and thank you, Club Animals." This was done for no reason except for the fact that Tanuki wished to gain something from this, as we'll see in a few seconds. Not only this, but Callum would then offer to unban them if they took down their posts and stopped talking to them. Callum could be a great Premier League footballer with his ability to try and bribe people for their silence. Next, Mason Greenwood right here. It's crazy that this person with any sort of power has been given power to decide whether or not people should be able to attend a club space, and in order for them to actually be allowed in, they have to be silent about his abuse towards them. That is vile. How can you feel that this is a correct mannerism to do? This is disgusting. Dani would then go to another mod of Club Animals about this stuff, and then was given a free ticket from the Club Animals to attend the one in August of 2022, I believe. So here we say, "Hi, so you were kicked from Animals, but now you aren't. I'm very sorry about this. It's totally shit. I've unbanned you and given you a free ticket to the August one." Now, one of the most repulsive things I've seen among individuals is falsifying suicide attempts. I want to give two disclaimers here. First one is a trigger warning for anyone who dislikes or is triggered for the discussion of suicide. You should be able to see the video chapters below if you want to skip ahead, and feel free to. The second is that this info is alleged and we don't have a lot of images surrounding it, but a few. Allegedly, Callum, aka Tanuki, took an overdose of ibuprofen. From the victim's statement, said that Callum sent an email to them, allegedly from a doctor. First off, any discharge paperwork, follow-ups or other messages, especially from an NHS doctor or emergency room, would not come through email. It would come by mail or by phone. Secondly, it would be alleged that Tanuki made it in and out of A&E, in and out of the emergency room within 4 hours. That simply is not possible. NHS waiting times are unbelievably long, and even at that, with any overdose, they keep you in for observation, especially if you took an overdose of ibuprofen. How do I know this? Well, let me tell you.
One of the largest, and I must say allegedly on this part, because I don't have any screenshots to back it up, I've received testimonies or testifications, testicular cancer, towards this happening. But apparently from one of the victims that Callum or Tanuki had been kind of mentioning that they'd be attempting on their own life. And one of the key aspects they mentioned of that was that they had been in and out of an NHS hospital within 3 hours possibly for a deliberate overdose of was it ibuprofen, paracetamol, something like that. Now, that is considered a deliberate self-harm episode, and you would never escape a hospital, let alone an NHS hospital with the waiting times. I have a document here. I received this document because I needed it for work, not just for this video, but it's basically an outline of my entire care from a time where I was hospitalised for my own deliberate self-harm episode or an attempt on my own life, basically. I went to a hospital which is part of a HSE group. Basically, HSE is the NHS here in Ireland, the Health Service Executive. And it's modelled very much on the English motto, or the English version of we don't have enough money and you're going to wait 7 hours for a mental health checkup. Well, the claim that someone made it in and out of a hospital for a deliberate self-harm episode within 3 hours is completely fucking wrong and was definitely a lie. Allegedly, I have to say that, so, because Mr. Tanuki is very, very commonly associated with court dealings. Well, not associated with, but threatening court dealings. But, like, this document outlines everything from my medication I received, heart and EKG numbers, echoes and stuff like that, as well as blood drawn and taken, and all of this other shit, and psychiatrist notes and doctor's notes that I've spoken with. So there is no way that you could have possibly made it in and out of a hospital, especially for a suicidal episode, within 3 hours. I was kept in for 3 days on a 72-hour hold after I entered the building. Like, it's just dumbfounded, but then again, it's used as another manipulation tactic for the victims that I did mention in this video to feel bad for what he's done and maybe think, maybe I'll take him back because I feel pity, you know. But that's all I wanted to show you guys. Yeah.
Not only this, but these feelings that they were having were then projected onto the victim. We see here from another screenshot where Dani was dealing with Callum. He says, "I'm sorry. I just feel like you don't even understand how fucked this is. Like, it doesn't matter. You're just saying, yeah, have a break. Right now, all I want to do is OD. I'm fucking done with all of this. It's too much. Every night something happens that's related to an ongoing shitstorm and it won't stop. I want out. Sorry for everything I've done to you, and sorry I couldn't be better. I hope you know I tried. I really didn't ever want to hurt you. You're super important to me." Listen, I understand wishing to vent to someone, but texting an ex saying that you're going to commit suicide and that you really want to OD is not the way to go about it. Instead, it just feels like you're attempting to manipulate your way back into someone's life that you hurt by using the fact that you may commit suicide as a sort of bargaining chip. Another person we're going to speak about is a man named David. This is in no way the person's real name, but I thought I should give them a false name. Only right, judging the fact I was warned against making this video due to the fact Tanuki enjoys sending out cease and desist letters and threatening tons of legal action. David approached me and unloaded a lot of screenshots regarding this situation, eerily similar to our previous one regarding the utilization of mental health to worry or manipulate an individual. If you remember my previous video, this is exactly what Shinzo used in his response to me, attempting to make me pity the person enough to let them back into my life. When the individual David originally came forward with his statement regarding Callum, David received this message. "Please listen, I'm not attacking, I just need to say something and then I'll leave you alone. I'm begging you to please hold off on whatever this is being said. When I feel sad and I lapsed, I spoke to my therapist and asked her what I should do, and she told me to speak my mind about how I felt, about the decision that was made. I also owned up and still do own up to the fact that just disappearing on you after making vague tweets about being uncomfortable was wrong. I know that, and I really am sorry I couldn't handle it differently. I was advised, not just by my therapist but by my friend, to try and find middle ground while also owning the fact I felt at the same time because it was upsetting to me. I never in a million years wanted it to go this way. I truly hope you do not believe I would actually try to do these things to you, things you said. I was because, you know, from my history, how much that stuff has happened to me. I couldn't bring myself to do that on purpose, and that's why hearing you call me those things was so hard. I was only speaking my mind because that's what I was told, and it felt right. Nevertheless, this fiasco has brought out all those bad people from my past. I'm being ripped at every corner I turn, and I'm begging you to please let off. You don't have to say anything, but please, 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 this has to stop. I'm in real trouble here. I didn't mean to do anything. I was just having a really shitty time in my head, and I know you were as well, so that sucks. I didn't deal with this better. I know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm scared, and I don't know what else to do, because some people who are out for me are finding out whatever you've said about me, and it's being twisted more and more, and I could lose my job, and just wanted to try and get some order with what happened. I promise that all. It's very weird that he's talking about being scared about losing his job, yet he threatened to basically contact other people's employment to make them lose their job. It's such a double standard. And I'm sorry for the tweets I made after all this blew up. These things that were being said, they're career ending, and I was trying to get ahead of things. But I was in a state and I should have just logged out. I've since deleted them, obviously. I'm not a bad person, I've just had a lot of bad people fuck with me, and I know you can understand that. I'm asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to forgive me, but I just need to understand why this went away, and why this went that way, and that at the time I had a little control over it, but I'm not someone who would ever manipulate or gaslight someone on purpose. The idea of doing that sickens me to my core. I'm begging you, please, whatever is being said, please let it be now. If you felt like you wanted to get back at me, and then you have okay, I've been dealt with. Also, like, you don't even have to say anything, but if you do want to, that's fine, but I do not want to fight or have conflict. I do not want any of that. I don't have any hate here, because this comes down to my mental health and the issue that stems from it all. So then David responds with, please leave me alone. Again, it's not just your mental health that's fucked about all this. I'm sick of asking for space. I deleted all my vent tweets about it yesterday, and it's not being talked about anymore. End of story. Please just leave me be. Thanks. I've tweeted on both private and public accounts for people to leave it alone, and that it's nothing to do with them, and that's the last I'll say about any of these from my accounts. Anything further is out of my control, as I cannot message it to every single person that knows about the situation. They said, I appreciate that, and I'm sorry, but please don't say what it is and isn't within the realms of my own mental health. I'm really sorry that it happened and I lost control, but I've been getting help and using it as the best I can. I'm sorry for the trouble this has caused you, and I genuinely wish you well in the future, and I hope you can be alright. Please take care. That is fucking stupid. Now, these are all of the screenshots I've received from David, and it can clearly show the type of partner in previous relationships that Tanuki is. A continuing cycle of date someone, talk shit about them online, get sad, manipulate, and rinse and repeat. This is just disgusting to act for as a partner, and understand this is manipulative behaviour. And apparently, out of the people who came forward to me, there are 8 victims in total. I did not manage to contact all of them, but this is what we've gotten from only a handful of people. This is terrifying. But the next part is even worse. It's how Tanuki will quickly jump to the defense of someone who had been accused as being a zoophile. So an individual named Cass released screenshots from a prominent individual by the name of Lysoa Victus. Cass Fennick had come out about how they had a disdain for zoophiles being so welcomed in the fandom and being so accepted into furry culture in general. And this is what Lysoa would respond to in their DMs. Lysoan is the same as this Barkinside person. We can confirm this by viewing their account and seeing that pieces of art are containing pretty much entirely zoophilic themes. It was clear on display. And it was listed as Vinny/Barkinside, which Vinny is the Lysoan person's name. But they jumped into Cass's DMs with this. I'm on lunch break and saw a link to your TL. With all the shit you're stirring up, my first compulsion was to call you a shitty person, but you seem like you make a great contribution to society, and you're day-to-day vehemently anti-Nazi, all sorts of positive things, and don't seem at all fair. So instead, I'll just share my perspective as someone who's been ongoing for nearly 15 years now. Furry is okay with bestiality. No, it's not. Always has been, always will be. No. You'll notice of your thousands of followers, your biggest tweet on the subject got so much support as a run-of-the-mill fursuit pose shot. That's because at every level there's people either active, curious, or sympathetic to those who are. No, there's not. You can contact con leads and you might get a nicely worded email, but nothing will come of it. The same way Java's last suit still sold for nearly 10k, even though recently for the 3rd time since about 05. she was out as a zoophile. Nobody cares. You may think that you're doing a noble and just thing, that's okay, but it's important to remember that you do not have a monopoly on morality. For every furrer who shares your view, you'll find more who don't. Many of whom, for example, vets, animal behaviouralists and biologists, people who've examined the ethics of it from many angles and come to a different conclusion than you. I'm not going to try to change your mind or anything, but it turns out it's you and these witch hunting acts that aren't welcome here. When in a week or a month nothing comes of your little crusade, I hope you consider whether your involvement with the fandom makes sense, if this is your view on it and want to interact with people. Outside of that, keep fighting the good fight. I hope your life is absolutely magnificent after the absolute boy Corbyn kicks May out of the 10 election. What a lovely person trying to justify zoophilia through biology. Clearly not a mentally deranged lunatic. So, as I mentioned, this dude can definitely be seen as just general scum. He attempts to use science to prove to the fact that it's okay for him to rape dogs. Just guess who came to his defense? The one, the only, the NBA superstar, 25th Premier League striker Mason Greenwood, aka Callum Tanuki. Oh my god, guys, MVV coming in clutch to threaten someone when a zoophile that their friend is getting shit on. So here we are, let's have a look. Tykes Brax, who is Callum's old name, or Tanuki's old name, says this, as I mentioned earlier. Why don't you keep your massive trap shut for once and stop being the fandom's amateur wannabe news reporter? What you're doing invading a family like that is absolutely abhorrent and pathetic. You have absolutely no right whatsoever to do such things, and it's not remotely your concern. I find it hard to believe anyone could be so boring and have a pitiful existence that their only true pastime is to stir up things and cause a scene. What you're doing is fanning a fire, and it's not welcome in this fandom. People like you are the reason this fandom is damaged and so lacking in respect. I actually feel so sorry for you. I can't imagine a life as boring as yours. Anyway, keep up your bullying and radical behaviour, and I'll be contacting your employers to enlighten them about your behaviour online. What goes around comes around. Now go dwell in scum where the rest of your vile drama trash belongs, you vile person. What a lovely person. I'm marrying them. Like, that's it. Me and Callum, we're getting married. Straight up, that's it. Me and Callum, we're getting married. It's just such a lovely person. You know, if we forget all the physical, mental abuse and your rampant defense of animal rape, generally just such a good person. I'm sure your mother's proud of you. And to put this all to a conclusion, the British furry fandom has a lot of more disgusting and vile human beings. They tend to do it a lot better than the Americans. The Americans are very loud and proud about their degeneracy. This information and the information I've now received about Callum or Tanuki Terror should be enough for you to understand how the fandom in the UK is equally as scummy to a degree, whereas the Americans, as I mentioned, are more proud of their degeneracy, but you never know what happens behind closed doors. Thanks for watching.